Brown-headed nuthatch is found throughout the South and endemic to longleaf pine ecosystem, also in shortleaf pine too. It's one of 3 bird species that we have that are found only in our southern pinelands, the other 2 being Bachman sparrows and red-cockaded woodpecker.
After they fledge, many brown-headed nuthatches stick around to help the family. This isn't common in birds.
One of the things when I started working here at Tall Timbers and realized that this cooperative breeder hadn't been very well studied was to think we should have a long-term study here.
Tall Timbers starts studying the birds when they're in the nest. Today, we're looking for baby birds.
And they are not in here, dang nabbit. I knew I should have done this yesterday. These are the perfect place. That's okay, we'll go to another nest to do this. But this is kind of a typical nest site for them. Right at, breast height or lower. And they're looking for these dead stumps that are in the last stages of decay.
Softwood is easier to excavate with a beak than living wood. A dead standing tree is called a snag, and Tall Timbers has plenty on the landscape. But nuthatches will also use artificial nest boxes. Tall Timbers Research Station and Land Conservancy is a 2,800-acre lab for the study of fire ecology in the longleaf pine ecosystem. The brown-headed nuthatch is a longleaf bird.
The fact that the brown-headed nuthatch is a cooperative breeder, where young birds sometimes decide not to disperse and attempt to breed, they hang around with mom and dad for a year and help mom and dad raise additional young. That's a pretty unusual behavior among birds. There's only about 10% of all the birds in the world that exhibit that behavior.
One of those is another longleaf bird, the red-cockaded woodpecker.
There are a lot of questions about why they do that. And sometimes the only way to get that is, as this has been done with other cooperatively breeding species, is to have a very long-term study set up looking at how they decide whether to breed or not to breed, how they disperse. And so we began just marking birds and following them through.
Jim is studying hundreds of small birds spread throughout the forest. He has to tell them apart, so he bands them with a unique color combination. He does this when the bird is still in the nest in late March and early April. They're big enough to band in just under 2 weeks.
These are at day 10 exactly. Just as those quills are starting to emerge. So what I'm going to do with these guys is put them back, and I'm going to come back in a few days when they're like day 13. I can wait till Monday or so. 2.
Bingo.
See, these are much more symmetrical, and there are also 4 young here, and no unhatched eggs. 2. This is...
He weighs and measures each bird.
11.7.
Some thrash around while others lie there. Might this predict future behavior?
10.5. Much more active bird than those other ones were. Rinse and repeat. Band goes on, clamp it down. Very hard combination here, white over white. We focus on doing color marking, and so we're working more with individual species. So we do brown-headed nuthatches, red-cockaded woodpeckers, Bachman sparrows, and also Henslow sparrows. They're pretty cute. They got that big head thing going for them. Like it makes you think of a kid, a baby.
The big head, compact shape, and the sharp beak make them expert excavators. The cavities are then used by other birds in the forest.
After they've fledged young, other species that use these nests include eastern bluebird, Carolina chickadee, tufted titmouse. We've even had some downy woodpeckers and even white-breasted nuthatches.
Sometimes, bluebirds don't wait for the nuthatches to leave. The last nest we check has a nuthatch that's ready to fledge. We wait and watch, and once the birds are out there, Jim and his team keep an eye out for them, noting which birds have stuck with the family group and which have moved on and how far away. One factor in this decision is that males in this population outnumber females by a 5-to-4 ratio, so males are less likely to go out and look for a mate.
The big goal we're hoping to get at with this particular bird is look at, there's so many different decisions that they're making. What are the outcomes of those different decisions for each individual, and how do those affect the overall dynamics of group living?
For WFSU, I'm Rob Diaz de Villegas.